Hey guys, Dan from Your Guitar Academy here, and welcome to this brand new video, which is the second of 3 of our little mini YouTube series talking about the harmonic minor scale. Now, last time we learned all about the scale itself, actually, how to play it, the theory behind the scale, and where to play it on the guitar. I even gave you a couple of licks to work with and a really cool backing track. So be sure to go and check that one out if you haven't already. We'll put the link in the video and below. There's a kind of playlist that you can go through. And now what we're going to be doing is learning how to harmonize that scale. So this is absolutely crucial because this is going to give you a whole new set of chords that you can use to create your own songs, to create backing tracks, to actually start to maybe improvise with some arpeggio shapes as well as the actual scale shapes themselves. Basically, it's going to give you a whole new idea of what minor is and what minor feels like, okay? So it's really exciting stuff to get your teeth into. Now, just before we carry on and get straight into that theory and how to do it, I would recommend going over to the website and getting the backing track, so you've got the backing track again to work with if you haven't already, and the worksheet for this lesson where we'll have all the theory, all the chord shapes, because we're going to be doing some pretty cool chord shapes here, and everything else written out for you to download, all for free. Just got to head on over to the website. So for you guys that are not quite sure what I mean by scale harmonization, first of all, we do have a full beginner's course of that, which we'll link to in the video. You can go over to the website, it's totally free, you can check that out. Now, otherwise, I'm going to give you a quick rundown of kind of what I mean by harmonization. Essentially, it's the process of using the notes that are in the scale. So in this instance, we're using an E harmonic minor scale, which we learned before. And we've got 7 notes in there and then they repeat. And we're going to take each one of those notes and create a chord from it using just the notes that are in the scale. Okay, so just before we get into each one individually, a basic example of that is saying, well, all I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be making a triad, or maybe a 7th chord. We'll be talking about that in a minute. But a triad, so a 3-note chord using those scale notes, and I'm going to be skipping a note in between each time. For example, if I was to create a chord from that 1st degree, okay, I'm going to be taking the 1st degree, which is E, then I'm going to be missing the next note and using the next note along. Okay, so I've got the 1st and the flat 3rd. Okay, then I'm going to be missing the next note along and using the note after that. So I got a 1st, a flat 3rd, and a 5th. Okay, and that's where you need to start just knowing your theory, because of course the 1st, flat 3rd, and 5th, when you put those 3 notes together, that's an E minor chord. Okay, an E, a G, and a B is an E minor chord. So that first chord, that first note, is harmonized to an E minor triad. And we're going to do that process for every single one of the notes. And we're going to go through that process. I'm going to go through it. It might be a little grueling at times, but it's really going to give you that understanding of how we actually harmonize the key. And then you're going to really have a better understanding of what a key is. How come when I'm playing these chords in some kind of sequence, and you play using this E harmonic minor scale over the top, it sounds great. Well, the reason it sounds great is because we're using the same notes. I'm just using mine to create chords, and you're using yours to solo over, but they're the same pool of notes. So let's kind of zoom in on the guitar and go through one by one all the chords, and you're going to get some really, really fun chords to play out of this. And we're going to start on the root, exactly as I just did, but I'll do it now closer up so you can really get a good feel for it. So the process is going to be, remember, we're going to take the 1st note, skip a note, and hit the next note. And that's going to be the way we're going to build these triad chords, or even 7th chords in some instances. So we've got the E, skip the F sharp, hit the G, skip the A and hit the B. So we've got our E, G, B. And those 3 notes together anywhere on the neck will create an E minor chord. So we're going to start with our E minor bar chord in that position. Okay. Now the next note up is going to be this F sharp. So we're going to do the same process, but this is now considered our root. Okay. So we're going to do the F sharp, we're going to skip the G, always be visualizing this scale shape, okay guys? This is what I'm visualizing as I go through this. So F sharp, skip the G, hit the A. So we got F sharp and A. We're then gonna skip the B and do the C. Okay, so we got F sharp, A, and C. And if you listen to that, those intervals together, okay, that's not minor, this would be minor. This is diminished. okay? Whenever you've got those kind of intervals, so a minor third apart each, essentially, you've got yourself a diminished chord. Now, we're going to do one better here than a basic diminished chord, and we're going to do a diminished seventh chord, because what we've got here with our diminished is really great, and that's going to work fine, but we're also going to add in that harmonic minor note, that seventh, that raised seventh, okay? Because by doing that, we create this chord. And this chord is just such a masterclass. This is the diminished seventh chord. It's a chord that's built in minor thirds. So basically, every note is a minor third apart. So you could just go up a minor third, a minor third, a minor third, a minor third, all the way through it. And that's how you create this chord, okay? And because of that, you're going to get so many usages out of this shape, okay? That's something we'll talk about in the next part of this series. So there's your chord shape, and if you've never played that shape before, I've got my second finger on the root, I've got my third finger on the flat 5, I've got my little finger up here, 10th fret of the B string, that's the flat third, and then I've got my 7th, okay, right here on the 8th fret of the G string. And that's my shape. So the first two chords are E minor, and then F sharp, diminished 7, okay. My third chord, so I'm building from the G now, okay. So we're gonna go G, skip a note, B, G and B. Then we're gonna go skip a note, and grab that one there, which is our D sharp. So we've got those three. And these three put together, okay? Okay? And this is where everything is built on major third intervals. So just by simply going up a major third each time, okay, we're gonna get a chord which is known as an augmented chord. And the shape that I want to show you guys is just simply this, okay? So it's basically just starts as a little major triad. So I've got my 10th fret, then 9th fret, then I'm going to do 8th fret and 8th fret. And that gives me my G augmented chord, okay? And again, this chord works in major thirds, okay? So if you go up or down the fretboard in major thirds, so it's the same chord moving up and down. So it's got similar qualities to the diminished seventh, but whereas the diminished seventh works in minor thirds, so flat thirds, so intervals of like that. This one works in intervals like that, okay? Again, there's so much depth we can go into an augmented chord. That's for another time. Let's just get a chord learned. So we've got now very funky chords so far. E minor, F sharp diminished 7, C augmented. Now our fourth chord is going to start here on the A, and we're going to skip a note and grab the C, sorry. Then we're going to skip a note and grab the E. So we got A, C and E, and all day long an A, C and E put together, you can hear it, is a minor chord. So we can play an A minor chord there. Again, anywhere you can play an A minor chord, please go ahead and do so. But we're just going to use a nice basic position here of the A minor bar chord. Okay? So we've got E minor, F sharp diminished 7, G augmented, A minor. Okay? Then our next chord is going to start on the B. Okay, so now I'm going to kind of use the scale shape starting down here, okay? So I'm going to go B, skip a note, and grab the E flat or D sharp, okay, which is a major third straight away. Then skip the next note, which is the E, and then grab the F sharp. So that chord is a B major, okay? So we'd very much in a natural minor expect a B minor to be there, but in harmonic minor, we've got ourselves a B major chord. The next along is going to be from this C. So we're going to C, skip a note, jump to E. Okay, so that's a major third. Then from the E, we're going to skip a note of F sharp and do the G. So we've got C, E, and G, and that's a major chord. So we've got two major chords back to back, a semitone apart. You're not going to find that outside of the harmonic minor scale. So it's a real clear indicator of the key here. So we're going to go E minor, F sharp diminished 7, G augmented, A minor, B major, C major, and the last note that we want to be doing is our D sharp note. Okay, so we're going to go D sharp, skip the E, hit the F sharp, okay, F sharp, skip the G, and grab the A. So we've got D sharp, F sharp, A. And again, those are all a minor third apart. And anytime you've got that minor third apart, you've got that diminished sound, okay? And again, this can become a diminished seventh chord, okay? So again, we can either use a new chord shape or the same chord shape we learned before, but down here from the D sharp, okay? So I'd recommend just for now using that chord shape because we're kind of familiar with it. So my whole key that I've now created by harmonizing this scale looks like this. E minor, then F sharp diminished 7, then G augmented, then A minor, then a B major, then a C major, then my D sharp diminished 7, the E minor. So there we have it. And what I want you guys to be doing is just playing around with that for now. So now that we've got our full chord set for the harmonic minor, the E harmonic minor, I'm just going to show you how that compares to the E natural minor. Okay? So in the E natural minor, we've got these chords. We've got an E minor. We've got then our F sharp minor 7 flat 5. So still a chord based on the diminished. Then we've got our G major, okay. Then we've got our A minor, then B minor, then C major, then D major, and then back to E minor, okay. Now when you compare that to the harmonic minor, have a listen to how it differs. Okay, we've got that E minor, then we've got that F sharp diminished 7, so slightly different there, a little darker. Then we've got the C augmented, so totally different there to the C major that we had before. Then the A minor, which is the same. Then instead of B minor, we've got B major. Then we've got our C major. And then of course, instead of that D major, we've got our D sharp minor 7 flat 5, which comes back to our E minor, okay? So when you start to just kind of jam out those chords from those different progressions, you can hear how drastically different it sounds and how much darker this harmonic minor sounds. Getting those two major chords a semitone apart is a huge part of that kind of darker sound. And then of course all those diminished seventh chords really add to making this darker minor sound. And do remember that you are welcome to kind of switch them as well. So if you want to use a little bit of a progression from the actual natural minor, for example, I might do a 1, 4, 5 using just minor chords. So E minor, A minor, and B minor. But then I might switch that B minor to B major, which is from the natural, the harmonic minor, to bring myself back into that E minor, like this. So you can kind of play around with this, and that's what we're going to be doing a lot in the next lesson. In the next lesson, which is the last of this mini 3-parter, we're going to be actually looking at a track, the backing track that I've created. I'm going to show you how to play those parts, okay? And crucially then, it's going to give you some ideas as to how you would use this harmonized harmonic minor scale. And then, the world's your oyster with this. You can go ahead and you can start doing some awesome songwriting and everything else, create your own backing tracks, create your own everything really with this. So I'll link those right here, as well as of course a link to the website where you can download the backing track, and you can also download the worksheet for this lesson, so you've got these chords actually written out nice and clearly. So with that in mind, enjoy that guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Just click through to it now.